All right, guys, today we have a very special guest in the house, spoken word artist slash actor slash podcaster slash he always with the honeys, Mr. OG Pop, Prince of Pain. What's good with you, baby? How you living?
Chop, 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 chop. Panda chop news. Let's chop it up, baby. I'm honored to be here.
So what do you like to go by, Pop?
Man, that shit changed so motherfucking much. It was Prince of Pain when I first came home, which is a poet name. It all came from a book I wrote in prison filled with poetry. I got on the scene of poetry in Chicago around a bunch of other amazing poets, and they start calling me Pop, short for abbreviation. And then I got involved with the rappers and OTF, and the one who gave me the name OG Pop was actually Hypno Carlito from OTF. He was like, Pop, all that pop stuff is over. It's OG Pop now, you know? So I rode with it, you know?
Right. So with my interviews, I know you're familiar. You be check them out and everything. I like to start at the beginning and really get your story. So let's set up the canvas. You're from Chicago, right?
Born in Brooklyn, New York, Greenpoint Hospital. My mother migrated from Puerto Rico to New York around I was a year and a half or 2 years old. We moved to Chicago, Illinois, Humboldt Park, where all the Puerto Ricans is at.
And so your mom is Puerto Rican. What about your dad?
100% Puerto Rican as well.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you putting on for the Boricuas. Okay.
Ya tú sabes.
Did you grow up with both your parents in the household?
No. My dad was pretty much a sperm donor, and my mother remarried quick, like after I was like 2 years old. So I was raised by my stepdad, who was also 100% Puerto Rican.
That's sad to hear about your real father, but that's great that you had somebody step in for you. Did you have any siblings growing up?
Yes, I have one brother, my younger brother, amazing poet as well, amazing father, amazing support system.
And did you grow up like in a traditional Puerto Rican household?
Yeah, with lechon, pasteles, and all that good stuff. Sofrito, alcapuria, pastelillos.
So what was it like for you growing up in Chicago?
I came up in a whole different time, I'm sure. I mean, I shouldn't be afraid to, kind of tell my age when I'm calling myself OG Pop, right? But I grew up at the beginning of hip hop, man. I could, the Troop Jackets, the Diodoras, the Adidas, and before Michael Jordan was winning championships. I remember the big stereos, the cardboard boxes, and the break dancing, and that was my childhood, playing baseball, maybe doing some graffiti until I got a little bit older, and my life took a different toll into what the streets can do to you. The gang banging, the prison, and things of that nature.
Yeah, well, I was going to tell you this, but I didn't want to feed your ego a little bit. But you still look pretty young, man.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that, man. Pop just turned 50 years old, bro.
That's
you know what I'm
crazy,
saying?
Man.
The baddies, though, man, I can't get them young things off me. I don't know if it's the little salt and pepper or what, but it still works,
It's salt and pepper. No, but you know what? It's crazy because I was going to bring this up later too, but every time I see you on IG or something, like you got some baddies with you, man. I'm like, damn, Pop always got somebody with them. I see interviews, you got girls sitting on your lap and stuff. I'm just like, Pop, what's going on?
Well, I don't know about right on my lap, but I can't recall all that. But I've been blessed, man. Poetry took me along a lot of places, and one of the places was, I own my own iHeartRadio podcast as well. It's a lot different. And I've just been one of the only fortunate ones out of Chicago that does this thing called Baddies of the Week. And I've done it for like 8 years. So I have a pretty good relationship with a lot of the industry females working in Chicago. I might help them get placed in a video or a movie or, things of that nature.
Oh, okay. I see.
So I do the Baddies of the Week. You know what I'm saying?
So I saw this interview where you said your mom was in an abusive relationship, right? What was that like for you witnessing that as you were growing up, and what age were you?
Uh, wow. Okay. I was young. You know, it kind of helped me. Kind of always want to treat a stepchild or a female's kid the right way. You know what I mean? Because my relationship with him was pretty rough and rugged. I witnessed a lot of rough and rugged stuff. It kind of ran me away from home kind of early, which led me to catastrophically take on things that I shouldn't have taken on at such a young age. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. So do you feel like in a way like your childhood was stolen from you?
No, not at all, man. I am so proud of who the fuck I am today. You know, I go different places, and it could be somebody that knows me from prison. And I was a stand up dude, you know, always. We could be in the darkest place. And, I never let that stop me from glowing and shining and letting my energy, you know, uh, try to be in a great place, or spread great vibes and energy. So, man, I've never been one to cry over spilled milk or one of them complainers. Actually, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. You a guy or girl or whatever, you around all day complaining, and I'm not with that. So I turned my test into my testimony, man. If I wouldn't have been through some of the, trenches and hard times that I went through, I wouldn't have been Pop today. And like I said, I love who I am, you know.
Right,
So
right. Yeah, you definitely exude that like that positivity, like that's the vibe that you really give off that basically you can overcome anything in life, right? No matter what is dealt to you.
Well, that's what I'm trying to illustrate to the youngsters, to the people, to my Boricuas, that it ain't never too late. Uh, you're looking at a guy who did 19 and a half, bro, and to come back and just jump in the industry, especially in such a big city where there's so much competition. Uh, and in a matter of 5, 6 years, work with some of the biggest legends in the world and share the stage and, be featured on some of their tracks.
Right, right.
It's a
And we
dream.
gonna get into that. We gonna get into that definitely a little bit later. Um, but I want to help set up the canvas for people to understand you and how, your story and like how you got here today. So what kind of kid were you? Like, did you really show an interest in music early on? Were you into sports? Like how what were you into?
I loved baseball. I did love baseball. I never gave a thought of doing music, although I did a lot of, we went to a lot of, I did do the breakdancing thing, you know what I'm saying? But I never gave music a chance, never gave it a thought. I got locked up, and when I was locked up, I put the pen to the paper uh, and started sharing poems with my brother back and forth from prison. And it really wasn't poems; they were actually letters that turned into poems. And he would fire me one back, uh, a poetic letter. So it led to me starting a poetry book, which got me later into music, after I mastered doing the spoken word stuff.
So you were saying earlier that you had a rocky relationship with your stepdad, and that kind of drove you towards the street life more, right? To getting out of your mom's house
Yes,
at an early age.
yes.
So, like, what age were you at this time when you decided to go into the street life?
Man, I want to say 15.
15. And then what were you getting into? Selling drugs, robberies.
Everything, everything. From gang activity, robberies, uh, drug selling, drug taking, you know what I'm saying? I think back then I was one of the biggest stick up kids in the city when I did get locked up. It took from 75 police officers, almost to 100 police officers, to come grab little old me. You know what I'm saying? Because I had a string of them. I was just buck wild. You know?
Wow. So, what is like Chicago like at this time? The gang life. I mean, like the community is filled with different gangs? Like, what's going on right now?
Now or then?
Then, I'm sorry, like
Oh,
in your story,
okay.
like at that moment in your story.
The city was a lot more violent back then, I want to say, even though there was more physical violence instead of gun violence. You know what I mean?
Okay.
There were real violations. There were real people getting jumped. There was more unity within the gangs, even though, uh, they didn't have it all figured out. Everybody pimped and used everybody back then to whoever was in control to make their money or whatnot. But it was a tougher place. The only thing that back then, just like now, all our communities are separated. You got the Boricuas over here. You got a little village, the South Side by 26th Street, all the Mexicans over there. You got Chinatown. So back then, everybody had their hood, their whole Humboldt Park, Puerto Ricans, Inglewood, the GDs, and it was all segregated. I mean, yeah, back then, we're talking about when uh, the crack era first hit. You know,
And so was the gangs just as prominent as it is now?
they were more prominent. They even had control of the penitentiaries. Uh, Now that there's, once they sent all the gang chiefs from the max joints to the super max or out of state and took all the, inmates' real jewelry and street clothes and tobacco products, they pretty much locked it down, as far as being organized crime. You know what I mean?
Wow. So were you into that, or you were running like solo dolo?
No, I was affiliated 150%. you know, Not nothing I'm proud of or, nothing that I still, I am who I am. Excuse me. I am who I am and I have my roots, but I'm sure anybody from my era is still around that grew up like that. There is and are doing positive. They're looked up and respected too. But I'm not active, bro. I'm not out here in gang meetings. I'm not out. That's not the kind of active I am. If I can get a message to a kid, work with a few brothers that are doing violence interruption works that walk the same walk. Like I've involved myself in mentoring programs, and I've got myself involved with a few older brothers, and we done gave maybe not programs, but presentations, to kids, whether it's an open mic or a gathering, and so yeah, you know.
And that's amazing because it took you having that experience in order for you to be able to come back and teach other people, right? Like sometimes the best teacher is the self experience, the hardest lessons.
Panda, this youth though, they won't even hear you out or even try to listen to you though, if you didn't go through it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So who better to give, the message than the messenger? You know what I'm saying? I was there. I come back with a message. You do not want to
Right.
go there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
So was the gangs like separated by like colors? Like the Puerto Ricans had their own gang,
Of
Mexicans had
course,
their own
of
gang.
course, yes, of course, of course you got Latin Kings in Chicago. You got disciples, whether it's Maniac disciples, Spanish disciples. You got Imperial gangsters. You got Spanish Cobras. You got a lot of Latino, and I ain't even said the Mexicans yet. They got the 2 6s. They got the Ambros, and it's a lot of street gangs. Latino street gangs.
And so who is there? Is there anybody that is like teamed up, like, or is it just like everybody for themselves?
Not anymore. Maybe back in the early '90s, it didn't matter what gang you were in. If you were folks, you were folks. And if you were people, like the other, like in New York, you got the blood. I mean, in California, you have the Bloods and you got the Crips. You might have 1,000 different Crip sets and 1,000 different Blood sets, but they're all up under the blue or the red rag. In Chicago, you're either the 6 or under the 5. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much like that.
So you ended up going away for 20 years, right? About 20 years. Can you give us the background story on that and what was that experience like for you?
The background story. Like I said, I was running around like a wild knucklehead. I wound up with some armed robbery, kidnapping, aggravated assault, unlawful use with handcuff charges. And, when you're fighting drama like that at that time, that's real time. Those are big, huge charges. You know what I'm saying? So I got my time. I was uneducated. I didn't even have a GD at the time. You know what I'm saying? I dropped out. I think
How old are we talking?
93,
So you're like 18,
19,
19 at the time,
19.
and you're facing
Yeah,
20 years basically.
a bunch of robbery charges.
Right. And so what is your thought process at this time when you finally get arrested and you're facing the trial and all that time?
Oh wow! You're in shock. You're now trying to adjust to a jungle, and there's no way out. They used to call me the $1 million man. That was my bond, $1 million. You know what I'm saying? There's no going home. It's you got to fight and live here. And at that age, man, I just minded my business and did my time. You know what I'm saying? And that was like probably the number one rule of the penitentiary: mind your own business. You know what I'm saying? I got sentenced, man, and it took me the first 10 years to sit my ass down. I was catching staff assaults. I was getting caught with, weapons.
So you was in there wilding for the first 10
Of
years.
course, they threw me straight to a max joint. You know what I'm saying? Uh, I trip out how, they talk about Rikers Island and the places in New York where these guys are cuffing razor blades in their butt and stuff, right? It wasn't none of that where we was at. Wasn't nobody. You might have had, a mule that you might pay to and said take on a visit so he could pack his booty, but for some, for some weed or, some contraband. But people were like grabbing the rails, going to the library and breaking the rails that hold the drawers in the library. And people had shanks, bro. You know what I'm saying? Not no, So it was a while. Stateville was a very, very, very violent atmosphere.
So prior to going into prison, right? Like your mind state at that time, were you just seeing like there's not really a future for yourself?
I was lost in the sauce. You know what I'm saying? I was a kid, just pretty much, I guess, trying to be cool, trying to get high, and just trying to have money in my pocket because I was already independent at that time.
Right. And when you say high, you're talking just smoking weed?
Yeah, smoking weed, get drunk.
Mm-hmm. And do you remember like your mom's reaction when you went in?
Yeah, she was heartbroken, you know.
That must have been real hard for you to see that.
Yeah, yeah. It was even tougher when they gave me that sentence and she broke down in court with the soon as they said how many years you could hear, you know what I'm saying? That was a heartbreaker. Another time, I remember, my mom, she was very, very loyal on visits and a birthday card, Christmas card. And I hadn't heard from her maybe like 4 to 5 months, which was odd. And she had a stroke. She was in the hospital and she recovered, thank God. And but those are like helpless times when you locked up, you can't do shit. What you gonna do?
Right. And I mean, like, I can't even imagine because obviously she was like the closest person to you, right? She's the one that stuck around. She's the one that really loved you and took care of you. And you being in that position, knowing that you can't be there for her when she needs you the most.
Yeah, yeah.
So take us through that. Like you must have, it's probably one of those times where you really broke down when you were in prison, right?
Prison is a tough place, man, to break down at. You know, at all. You can't never let them see you grin. If not, they think they in. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Like the sharks, they taste the blood they on you, right?
yeah, so I never really had breakdown moments. I had, you know, I seen guys play the role, bro. Like eat light bulbs, stick shit up their dick, so they can go to now outside hospital because they can't take it and they just gotta get away and cut themselves or be in the med line waiting on medication. You know what I'm saying? And man, I just had a lot of faith that, and the first 10 years I felt so strong in my mind. And I was a little arrogant and cocky, I guess, at the same time that I knew I could make it. But once after the first 10 years, I was like, man, fuck this. I need my GED. I got that. I need my associates. I got that in science when I was locked up. And I started preparing myself to come home. You know what I'm saying?
Was there like an experience you had that made you want to switch it up?
Yeah. And it was when they pretty much took control of the penitentiaries. You know, and when I say they, I mean the state IDOC. You know what I'm saying? It made it very uncomfortable. I seen a guy get released 9 times and come back. I used to look at this idiot and I used to be like, man, just give me one chance. I ain't coming back. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, watching 9/11, you know what I'm saying? Moments like that where you might die in prison. You might, you know what I'm saying? All that just maybe really gave me the hope and drive. My mom getting older, my brother getting older, my daughter getting older, needing me. All them factors, man, just made me, I guess, really mature and grow the fuck up.
Right. So what age did you have your daughter?
19,
19. Oh, so right before you went in.
right? Yeah, right before.
And were you able to cultivate a relationship still? Like was she like, or was that came later on in life?
Yes, that came later on in life. We're cool as hell now. You know, we started a relationship right before I got out. I was trying to get custody of her because she had went through some things with her stepdad, and that didn't work out. Um, so we had to wait for my release. And upon me first getting released, she came to stay with me for a while. We worked on a relationship, and man, God bless her. She's, you know, we just talked this morning. You know what I'm saying? She lives about 3 hours from Chicago in Michigan, and you know, it's dope. You know, she's also been through some shit, but it's pretty much made her who she is. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, that's amazing that you guys were able to build that relationship, right? In prison, you experienced an aneurysm, right?
Yeah,
You were in a coma for 21 days.
yeah.
Can you speak on that?
That was a regular day, man. I mean, I don't even know if you know. I also got shot in prison. Uh,
Wait, how do you get shot in prison?
Everybody's asks that. Let me take you. Which one you want first? They're both war stories. So
Yeah. Let's go with the aneurysm part first, since I brought that up first, and then we
I
move
got
on to the.
piped in the back of the head, man. During us getting down one time, I got hit in the back with like a mop stick. It was a piece of wood. It was nothing. I shook it off. Went back to the set.
Who, you were just fighting another inmate?
The whole floor was fighting.
Oh shit! What kicked it off?
Don't that day. A basketball game that led on the tension that led back out into the cell house. You know what I'm
Wait,
saying?
so help people understand, right? Because like in prison, everyone is like going through their own emotions and everything. So like at any moment, anything could like spark something,
I've
right?
been, I've been sitting down eating my dinner, you heard, and had nothing to do with what the fuck is going on 8 tables down. And 2 guys finally get this minute that they finally see each other because they never see each other. And maybe one guy robbed the other guy or disrespected or he killed his brother or who knows. But they finally get to see each other in the chow hall. And right in the middle of the chow hall, there's a gun tower. You know what I'm saying? Uh, at this time, they had 12 gauge shotguns in them towers. On the catwalk, they had many 14s, which is what I got hit with. But, once that first punch and second punch is thrown, if them guys are in a gang, it don't matter what's going on. Everybody just what their gang gets involved, man. That's how it goes down. It ain't just
Right.
no really one on one. It becomes a riot. You know what I mean? So yeah, you could be eating. Eating. You could be having a. What happened with the shooting was
Wait. Before we go into the shooting, though, so you got hit in the back of the head, right?
yes,
And you off like nothing happened, and then how long after did you have the aneurysm?
about 5 weeks. I was playing basketball, shooting
But
around.
during that whole time, you didn't notice anything was off or anything?
I let the thing just heal like a little scar. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't no big thing to me. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
I didn't even, it was like a little scratch. I got hit one time, okay. I mean, it didn't knock me out or nothing. You know what I'm saying? So I was playing ball one day and I thought I was overheating. I passed out. Simple as that. I passed out. I woke up after some surgery from a busted blood vessel that was in my head. Uh,
Oh shit.
and 21 days later after the surgery, I was stable. I had to learn how to walk again, eat again, talk again. My neurological system just went through some coma type shit, you know. But within 4 months, shit, I was back playing basketball, fucking around. You know what I mean?
So what was that experience like that took you like 4 months to learn everything again? Like, did that like weigh on you mentally at all?
It was humbling to get a second chance. Uh,
Because I hear like it's like nothing is more difficult than having to have other people do things for you when you can't like really do it for yourself, or being less than what you were before.
well, as soon as I came out of it, like physically, I was almost doing everything but just walking correctly. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Uh, all I had to really do was get the strength in my legs back and get my speech just back right. You know what I mean? I felt dehydrated. It was like it was like I was drowning for like a couple weeks. You know what I mean? That's what it felt like.
Right, and then I saw the interview where you said that like the experience was like drowning because like one of your biggest fears is drowning, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been trying to break it. If you've looked at any of my recent stuff, I've been on wave runners and boats, and you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I remember back then, man. It was like I was dreaming vividly. I was in a dream. I was in the middle of the ocean, in the middle of the sea somewhere, and I was swimming, just trying to get up, and I could see light. And the more I pushed and pushed, I got closer, and it felt like I was swimming forever, and my lungs were just ready to bust at any given moment. I remember the anxiety in my dream, being scared, like I'm not gonna make it. And I kept pushing and pushing and climbing until I finally broke surface of the water. When I broke surface of the water, I guess is when I felt cuffed up to my foot to the bed, and I started. I broke out of my coma. That's what happened. But I was like
Wow.
in a dream state.
You know, it's crazy because like people that have those like near death experiences, they always kind of describe like being in that kind of dream state and trying to find their way out of it, right?
I felt like I was trapped. You know,
Yeah. It's crazy, man. So it was in prison as well that you found religion, right? That did you like have like a spiritual awakening or something?
no man, not really. I can't tell you. What I found in prison when it comes to religion and religions was more answers. You know what I'm saying? I grew up Roman Catholic, but you always have. You get to prison, everybody thinks they're a deacon or a pastor. Fuck, you know what I'm saying? So I just wanted some clarity. You feel me? I wanted, okay, well, they've been telling me I've been raised. So I did. I studied the Quran. I studied the Bible. And I just learned a lot of knowledge. And I mean, I could tell you right now, today, like, I'm not religious, dude. I'm spiritual. You know what I'm saying? I believe in a higher
Right.
power. I respect everybody's religion. And if you believe, something greater created us, and something's always watching over us, and there's good and evil. And hey, look, I respect it. You know.
Well, because like 90% of like, because like all religions, like 90% of it is like pretty much the same thing. Like be a good person. You know, it's like all telling you just to really take care of yourself, take care of others, like be a good person. That's what it really is. I mean, like
I
when
mean,
you start to
even
go into the nuances of like, oh yeah, Jesus woke up on this day, like like that's where like those little differences start to come.
even Tom Cruise and them Scientologist people, I still respect them, even though they don't believe in God, or they think it was, a biological Big Bang or whatever. I mean, I still respect, as long as you're trying to do good in your life and
Right,
preaching on positivity. None of us really know the truth,
right.
you
So
know.
you did you start like this like after those 10 years where you were wilding out, like that you started searching for those answers when you went and got your GED, or
Man, you do a lot of segregation time, and you have nothing to read. Um, you probably, don't get me wrong, I had shit to read. I'm a big Mario Puzo fan, Tom Clancy. I did a lot of, Richard, Robert Greene. I read all his shit.
48 laws?
All of them. 33 Strategies of War. What was it? Art of Seduction. My brother even got the other day. Where is it at? Oh, The Mastery. He got that from me. I think he's got
Wow.
the 50th Law with 50 Cent.
Right, right.
But
That's dope. That one's dope.
But I grabbed, sometimes you'd get that knock on your charcoal, and it'd be one of them church people. And I was like, okay, well, this is here for a minute. Let me read. And it took me there, what I'm saying, to read, like I said, the Quran, the Bible, all of it. Not a doctrine or none, but I tried to. And then, I'm not gonna lie, some of the old Bibles too, they're hard to understand as well.
Right.
So you look for, how these people break it down, or you get a simpler book, but yeah, that's how I got closer to trying to get closer and seek more answers when I was in prison. I didn't get religious. I just seeked answers out of some of the different books.
So during prison, you're educating yourself and everything. Did you start to feel yourself changing? Like your worldly view was like outside of what you've always known with the street life and everything.
There was a lot of people, once I started involving myself with poetry, that they told me, "Oh, you're gonna do something." You know what I'm saying? Louis Farrakhan came to. This is when I knew I had something. Okay, I did a poetry slam in the joint, and I had one of them little jobs, which was a porter, where pretty much a janitor. That you can, while everyone's locked down, a few of us have that kind of detail, so we can get out our cell and move around. So it was African American Month Poetry Slam. I was one of the participants, and he told me after I was done that I had 1,500 inmates in the gym just going crazy and pounding on their damn chest, and I got a dope standing ovation. That I was gonna come home, and I was gonna be a very, very strong voice for my community and my people. All that stuff encouraged me, man. Guys telling, man, you got the voice, and it just kind of encouraged me, man, to follow some of these poetry dreams.
Hmm. So from the beginning, like when you started hearing that, like were you like brushing it off, or like you took it real serious once like a couple people started saying like, no, you got something here?
Once I start going in, I smashed a lot of mics doing the spoken word stuff. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know everybody from Malik Youssef to Red Storm, the legendary Black Ice, all the Deaf Poet legends known pop. Okay. Saul Williams, every real poet that did some, I made it my business for them to know who Prince of Pain was. Um, but when I first came home, I was very unpolished. You had
Mhm.
nothing but raw talent. A
Right.
person who had been culture shocked, technology shocked, that had to learn how to work social media, but never been to a professional studio, never played with a beat. Everything happened for me on the motherfucking fly. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I had a gangster artist development. I had to
Wait,
learn
wait, wait, wait,
from.
wait. But before we get into that, I want to go ahead and cover the you getting shot in prison first. So how did that happen?
I was walking with my guy, Goyo, smoking a little pinner blunt around the damn yard where there's nothing but two basketball courts. Two black dudes were on the court fighting over a damn foul or whatever the fuck. They start fighting. The whole little basketball court starts fighting against each other. We're just checking the shit out. We ain't got shit to do with it. The lady in the gun tower, Miss Williams, that got fired, uh, lady who was on, we later discovered, was on psychotropic medication. Shouldn't have been up there holding no damn rifle. Uh, Shot her warning shot at the air, then immediately started shooting towards the crowd, and I got hit.
Wow.
Mhm.
That's crazy. So did you end up, I don't know, like getting any kind of
I
repayment?
sued him. Yes, I sued him, man. I sued the Illinois Department of Corrections. Um, I didn't have no representation. When you're suing the prison system with no real witnesses that have a clean record, you know, it gets pretty difficult, man. I had a old buddy, old Latin king buddy named I'm not a king, but he was a king. And one of their he did 32 years. And this guy's like a legal beagle, you know. I paid him off with tunas and shit like that, cigarettes, and he filed this lawsuit for me. And we made it all the way until it was time to see a judge. And if you get to a judge, you know, you got something. So after the second meeting with the judge, he told me, man, look, you in this shit by yourself. What do you want? And I'll tell you if it's reasonable, and I'll talk to them, and I'll tell them it's the most reasonable decision since they're out there bad, and we'll see if we can make it happen. So I think I asked them for like 50 G's or something, and an immediate release. I still had like 4 or 5 years left, and like shit, I got hit, you know.
Right.
But no, none of that stuff happened. I think they gave me like 10 bucks, 10 G's. They moved me to a minimum facility immediately. Uh, and when I got to 30 months short of my release, they would send me home on an ankle monitor. And that's exactly what they did.
When you get home, right? How are you acclimating back into society? You were saying like, oh, like you were getting shocked, like culture shock, technology shock, just all these different things. So what was it like going back into society after for so long you've been on a set schedule, you're being told what to do and whatnot? I know you said you were on the ankle monitor and everything, so you're not completely free, but it's still a damn lot more than you were.
So I kind of locked myself up, if that makes any sense.
You closed yourself
I
off
kind
from the world?
I locked myself up from everybody other than family. Um, I did learn how to use technology and social media very good when it was first, starting to do what it was doing. Um,
Why did you lock yourself up?
because I wasn't ready, to involve myself in everything Chicago had to offer, and I wanted to like sit down and make a plan. I knew I had something. You know what I'm saying?
But were you like feeling like overwhelmed or like what were you feeling at the time that made you do that?
Mm, very overwhelmed. You know, and I watch guys come home and make mistakes and get killed. You know, I had a heavy name. Chicago,
And then
Chicago.
also a lot of times people do something to go back in because that's all they've ever known.
Well, I went to work. I remember at the beginning I did scaffolding in a big plant, and I was their lead scaffold guy until they let me off. When they let me off the band, see, that's another thing. I was on that band. I really couldn't go nowhere. I mean, actually, I was locked up still, kind of, But
Just a
when I
little
got
less
off,
supervision. Right.
I couldn't go nowhere on that band. After 6 p.m., I had to be home. You know what I'm saying? And you couldn't move too far from your house. You know what I'm saying? But after I got off that band, I started getting loose. I knew that I wanted to go try a couple of poetry places that's big in Chicago, the open mics and the the spoken word night here, and they mix it up a lot also with comedy shows. And I got out there until I smashed about 4 or 5 mics. I got involved with the Poetry Society here in Chicago, and we went to Detroit. We went to LA, and I won awards doing the shit. Uh, so that was kind of my first 2 years, just performing and winning awards and just kind of getting my name out there. The first 2 years, that's what I did.
So at what point do you start doing things into the community? Because I know eventually you won a humanitarian empowerment award, right?
So right after I got off the band, I got with a place called the Empowerment Center. My boy Javier Anaya owned at the time. And we were mentoring kids. We had a gym in there. We had a mic. And we get a lot of kids that were from the community to come and spit, talk to them about the Humboldt Park culture, the Puerto Rican culture, ask them what did they want to do, give them tools on maybe how to get closer to their dreams, offer them resources. I worked not only with them, but I worked with Street Level Youth Organization too. They had a professional studio. Yeah, so I got a lot of, I got a lot of quality time with teenagers when I first came home and young men that needed a little direction. And that was dope. That was love. Working with the kids is always love. I've done community giveaways. I've pulled up with 2 U-Hauls to the neighborhood and fed the whole land. And that's what I thought would really show the people, man. After doing so much time or whatnot, look at him. He's looking out for the community. He's looking out for the kids, and I think all of us should, give back.
Right. So what inspired you to do that at that point?
I've always been if we can't do it, who gonna do it? You know what I'm saying? So, and I've always been a voice for my community, so it was just something I felt I needed to do as a leader, anyways. You know what I'm saying?
So when you got out, was it really hard for you to get a job?
The job I did, like I said,
Scaffolding, right?
yeah, that wasn't, that's a plant, dirty, gritty job. Nobody wants to climb 150 feet in the air with a harness. You know what I'm saying? So that was available to me for good money, and I took it and I nailed it. I had my own crew within a month. They had a bunch of Mexican guys that didn't speak no English, and guess who they would listen to and communicate with, right? So, that worked out for me until I got off the band. But I didn't work, man. After I got off that band, until maybe when the pandemic first started, like I honestly packaged myself and I made money in and out, bro, off of just me. You know what I'm saying? I got paid for shows. I got paid for appearances. I would do my own concerts, rent out fucking theaters, bring headliners. Come on, let's get it. I ran on Wednesday nights. I had Oceans, which is the biggest gentleman's club in Chicago that looks like the Flamingo. Wednesday nights, I was the promoter. Was my night. I was the head of Def Jam Street Team in Chicago. Doe from the Go, see me doing poetry, starting to do a little podcasting for iHeartRadio. Gave me that slot. I had a big ass Chevy van. Jadakiss, top 5 DOA hip hop. Come pick up all the posters and merch and meet him at DTLR. A lot of that stuff made me, good networking and connections. Yeah.
Wow. At what point did you meet Cuban Link?
We're in 2023. So I want to say 2017 or 16, right around there.
Okay. And then with you being Boricua, obviously you grew up a TS fan, right?
150%.
So what was it like meeting Cuban and how did you get to meet him?
Okay. Cuban, right? Nobody else?
Well, I mean, did you meet him through someone else?
No, but they were affiliated, and me and him had our own meeting, which is probably more historic and doper than how we met. I met Cuban, man. I was really into the poetry. I thought I was the shit. I was making noise. I thought, and I thought Cuban Link was one of the dopest lyricists, ever did the shit. One day I sent him a message on it was either Instagram or Facebook. He wasn't very fucking social media savvy. He was like, he did 50 years. You know what I'm saying? This motherfucker didn't know how to work in social media too much, but knew how to send the message. So I greeted him, man. And I
Did
said,
you heart the message? Because he does that shit to this day where he's like, you'll ask him something, he just hearts the message, and then you're like, well, what the fuck does that mean?
Cuban knows I'll call him in a minute. You know what I'm saying? But fuck the texting shit. But I sent him a message. I shouted him out. I told him I respected him, man, and everything he did for the culture, and he was dope. And my name was Woo Woo Woo, and I just did a stretch. And I'm not a rapper. I do poetry at the time, and that was it. I think we communicated back and forth a little bit. I told him I get him some shows out here in Chicago, but before the shows, I don't know what happened. We wound up in the studio a couple times. Now we had music. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, yeah, Cuban Link to be from a prison cell and to be by Shea Stadium with Cuban Link shooting a video for a music video that goes to World Star Hip Hop the same week.
And which song is this?
It was it's called The Last Supper.
Okay, yeah. That's the one I thought you were talking about.
It's pretty surreal, it was every time one of these opportunities happen for me, and there's a lot of them, okay, a lot. From Yo Gotti to Scarface to X to Little Dirt to Twister to a lot of moments, Crucial Conflict, Do or Die. A lot of them I could keep on, you know what I'm saying? But Spice One, that was a good dope moment. But I felt like I belonged there, if that makes any sense. Like God already, like when it happened, for a minute I was like, in a surreal kind of stage, but knowing I belonged at this moment, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I'm feeling like Jesus at the Last Supper.
Yep.
How did that come about?
He killed that.
That was crazy.
Cuban, that week that we did the project, was going through shit. That month I just felt him like getting beat up by the industry and the internet, right? And that week was a bad week for him. He wound up on World Star Hip Hop with the boxer dude, Hova or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I show up to the Bronx to shoot the video. We got to shoot. Cuba had to shoot with some glasses because he still had a little mark. You know what I'm saying, from what just happened the night before.
I wasn't gonna bring it up because I know the story. I wasn't gonna bring it up, but
Cuban was laughing about it. You know what I'm saying? And another person probably wouldn't have shot the video that day or whatnot. But Cuban was a sport.
Right.
He was honest with everybody about what happened. I mean, the video don't lie. Cuban took it, got his ass back up, and had a drink. Simple as that.
So wait, at that time because it was the next day, right? When you guys shot the video?
So I showed up the day after the shit happened.
Right. So the video wasn't out yet, right?
Not my video, no.
No. I mean the video of him getting punched.
I'm watching the video of him getting punched. On the way to New York, I drove with my video. So my videographer's in the back seat. We're by Pennsylvania somewhere. We're almost at the tunnel up that way, or the turnpike up that way. And she's like, Pop, you got to see this. Oh my God. And she showed it to me. You know what I'm saying? I called him, and like I said, he kept the gangster about the whole, situation. But yeah, we shot the video next day, and like I said, it felt surreal, man, and it felt good to be able to come home from such a dark place and to work with such a dope legend in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and there's a scene in the video that is shot in somebody's place.
Yes, absolutely. Gilly X Delgado gave me his dining room table to and did all the props and fixed it for us to shoot that video there.
Yeah, shout out to Gilly, man. I spoke with him today, and he sends his best. He said you a solid brother, so definitely,
That's
man.
my brother, Gilly X. That's the story I thought you would have how I meet Gilly.
Yeah,
Do you know that? Do you know that story?
which one?
Do you know the story of how I met Gilly Delgado, Gilly X?
I know the story, but why don't you go ahead and tell it? Because I know people want to know.
My brother was with me that day. Actually, I met Gilly. I was the co-headliner for DMX at the Portage Theater in Chicago. I just finished performing. I'm hyped now that I finally get to watch X. I just did 15 minutes of spoken word poetry. I wasn't even doing music yet. I didn't have a single. I'm spitting poetry, bro. You know what I'm saying? So I did my performance. I get on. I don't get off stage. I go to the side of the stage. I just finished performing. Now I want to watch X. X comes on stage. It's me, my brother, and I got a nice little crew with us. About 14, 15 people, Joe, that day. Jay, Bones, all of them. So Gilly comes on stage with another. He was the road manager at the time, and he had security with him, a big old dude. So Gilly comes on our side of the stage while X is performing and tells me, "Hey, bro, I can't have y'all brothers on stage, man. X don't want nobody up here." I looked at him. I said, "It's all right, bro. You good up here, bro. Just you straight up here, bro. Don't worry about it. We got y'all." He looked at me again. He's like, "Bro, I can't have you all up on stage." I looked around. I said, "Bro, you're good up here, bro. It's 7 guns out here right now, bro. Y'all straight." He looked at me. We left that night with DMX to a hotel, Gilly, and we kicked it for like 3 days. I
Wow.
got real cool with Gilly that night, bro. And that was how I met DMX.
I saw in the video he said that they actually stayed there longer than they
Fucking with
originally
me.
planned for the trip because you guys were so cool.
Crucial Conflict, cohort from Crucial Conflict was with us as well that weekend, and Cohort and DMX already knew each other prior. But X was a very dope soul, man. X listened at the hotel with Gilly to a piece I did called "When Did I Lose My Soul" that I wrote in prison, man. Probably thinking about the pieces that X does where he talks to God or Damien talks back, or it was one of them kind of pieces. Me bitching at God for about and being ungrateful for about 4 minutes, and about 2 minutes, God giving me a message back. And that touched DMX where when he went on his 20-year anniversary for Hell is uh
It's dark and hell is hot.
yeah, he put me on the tour and I got to perform. And I was doing music
Wow.
by this time already. And he didn't give a fuck if I had good music, but he just loved the poetry and was a fan and a brother of me. You know what I'm saying?
That's one of my favorite albums, man. That album is ridiculous. The and one of the things it just makes so much sense for you guys to link up because the way that X be doing them prayers on his albums and everything, he definitely would appreciate the type of content that you make, right?
He
So
I got to hold hands, bro, in the circle on the 20-year anniversary before we performed, and he had the whole crew, like 10 of us in a circle, and he prayed, and
mhm,
yeah, man, I experienced that. X was a different kind of. We could be smoking a blunt and drinking Hennessy, and out of nowhere, he'll just hit you with something positive and a dope message.
right. Did you ever get to make music with him?
Mm-mm.
No.
No, not at all. I wish, that'd been dope.
Right. What is your favorite memory of X?
Hmm. Favorite memory. He didn't know us, right? Before he met us, or he didn't know me before he performed that night, right? But something about the energy where me and my brother were standing made him walk directly up to us, grab my brother, my younger brother, hug him, and tell him, I see all the good energies right here.
Wow.
And my brother, I'm sure, was totally touched by X just, stopping his performance and just walking right over there and dapping my brother, hugging my brother. You know what I'm saying? That was a genuine moment. And watching him pour Hennessy and liquor for all the dead ones and gone ones, and just watching them live perform, bro. It was just watching, X was an artist and that kind of artist.
Yeah, it's crazy because like there's not many hip hop artists that can compete with X when it comes to live performance. Like when he's really on his shit, you know, man, X is amazing. Like you've seen the whole the backstage DVD where it shows like him and Jay-Z being on that tour and
Yeah,
how like X just killed it. And like even Jay-Z admitted like during that tour that he had to learn to step it up to compete with X, right? I mean, man, he's crazy how he could just like make you cry the way that the emotion that he brings out of people.
yes, yes. The
He
world lost,
spoke with
bro.
that like conviction.
I think his passing and the effect that the world showed and the love the world showed when X died, that was some Michael Jackson stuff. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, yeah, I never seen that many bikes, even in a funeral, or everybody loved this. Everybody loved DMX. That's pretty much my point. Everybody loved that.
Yeah, most definitely, man. How did you get mixed into the whole beef with TS? Because I know at one point you ended up dissing Tony Sunshine, right?
Yeah. How do I- So pretty much it's like this, bro. Hip hop is hip hop. You know what I'm saying? All I expect when I drop something like that, I want nobody get booty hurt. I want nobody getting their feelings. Drop a song back. Maybe, respond that way. Give me some numbers that way. Uh,
So you looking at it more from the competition
I,
standpoint.
yeah, it wasn't no, at that time it wasn't no, uh, gang activity or pull out the 4-5 or nothing like that. To me, I went in. This is how this kicked off. Um, I got a song in my email from his manager. He sent it to me. The name of the song
Why
was
did
called,
he send it to you?
exactly, and the name of the song was called "Shots Fired." Now, all of them knew that I was Cuban's buddy, so I responded. The way I responded was I went in the booth and I made that song. You know, so that's how I chose myself to just pretty much give shots fired a response of shouldn't have shot at a real nigga. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
That's all it was. So
Did you
it's
talk
not
to
beef.
did you talk to Cuban like ahead of time when you got sent that song?
No.
So immediately you just heard the song and you was like, I'm gonna take it upon myself to respond for my brother, basically.
Yeah, 150%.
Did you respond to his manager though when you received that song?
In the second verse,
No, but I mean like through the email, you didn't say anything. You just went ahead and did the song right away. That was your natural instinct to.
if you listen to the second verse, I speak to Los. I even say his name in the second verse.
Wow. Okay. And I saw on the Hip Hop Uncensored interview that of course Los was hitting you behind the scenes and everything. Like, what was the temperature like?
I would tell you what it was. Them dudes be thinking they slick, right? First of all, you have to understand, I'm a little bit different kind of animal. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a rapper. I'm far from a rapper. I am an artist that happens to be a poet, that happens to know how to act, that happens to know how to do some podcasting, that happens to know how to rap and make some music as well. Um, they are rappers, bro. They're not street dudes. They don't have a real pedigree. They're trying to eat off of a feature off some dude that ain't never. He's 40 years old trying to manage a dude. They never dropped an album. Has nothing really going on. So I already smelt why he was calling me, because I dissed his artist. You know what I'm saying? Just wanted to be peaceful, and he wanted to feel the temperature to see if it was safe for them to come to Chicago, or to see how in depth and dear this song and lyrics was about. You know what I'm saying? Uh, Pretty much it. You know, um,
But you spoke to him on the phone,
afterwards, after I dropped the song, they
and
reached out to me.
what did he say?
That they didn't want no problems with me. To don't go against TS, don't go against Joe. That'd be a mistake. And so, man, I ain't trying to hear that shit. I told him what I just told you, bro. I don't give a fuck about that rap shit. You know what I'm saying? That shit don't move me. You know, and he just wanted to be civil with me, wanted me to become civil, and tried to convince me that Cuban was full of lies, bitter, upset, and that I chose the side I chose, but I was choosing the wrong side.
Wow. He didn't Tony say something about you though? Like he said something about you, and Los apologized on his behalf. I thought I saw that in the interview. You mentioned something like that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, that's what pissed me off. That pissed me off. Somebody sent me his live video, but I didn't catch it when it was live, and he didn't leave it up, so I never got to see it. But I had a lot of people forwarding me when he was live, talking about he was gonna break my jaw. So I had told Los, that was one of the first things I told him. I said, just make sure that dude, he accountable for what he said out his mouth. And I got to speak to Tony myself. Tony apologized, and we were civil about it. And I told him, bro, you got to be careful who you come at. And I'm not Cuban, bro. I don't have a personal beef. I fuck with my boy. I'm loyal to my boy. I've even tried to squash the beef. I've tried 6, 7, 8 months to squash Cuban and Fat Joe. Me and DJ EFN. DJ EFN hit me up this morning. You know what I'm saying? I might feel different towards everybody else, but EFN has always been solid on trying to make peace, trying to get him on the podcast. Only one that makes him relevant and says something positive. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man, I was pretty much, man, I thought at one point that I would be the voice to reckon with Cuban and get us a situation to make it peaceful. I was a fucking fan of Libertad, Libertad. To see Cuban and Joe on that one track, I mean, I really had a fucking dream that them two would be grown up ass dudes, make a positive fucking statement. And us maybe, but me and another million motherfuckers wish we could see a TS real reunion. You know what I'm saying?
So did you talk to Joe directly about having a
I've never ever talked to Joe in my life.
okay, but
I don't know Joe at all.
you were making efforts behind the scenes through his people and everything to try
Through
to
DJ EFN.
okay.
It was me and EFN back and forth, back and forth. He would tell me it's not time yet. Let me see what we could do. And Nori made it obvious that it would never happen.
Right.
Until they squashed the beef. Oh, I'm sorry. Nori, yeah, well, not that it wouldn't happen, but that they wouldn't interview Cuban. Nori made that, yeah.
Because all the times that Cuban has really been brought up on Drink Champs, DJ EFN is the one trying to smooth it over, right? Like the times that Joe's there and he says, "Oh, like full of clips," like he's the one that brings it up and he tries to somehow try to figure out if they can come to peace.
What I love about, and is so transparent about DJ EFN, is he takes his own stance on things, and he's very, genuine about it. Right on camera. You know what I'm saying? He is not a yes man. He has his own opinion. You see him and Tony Yayo go at it the other day about Ice Cube. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to say, man, EFN is solid. You know what I'm saying? And he ain't got none of the, and him as well. I believe 100% that he wishes just what I wish, that Cuban and fucking Fat Joe would just make the fuck up already and get it on. Just keep it moving,
Right. Yeah, because I do think that EFN is has been the one that has wanted that to happen. But obviously his partner is Nori, and Nori is like best friends with Joe. So Nori is kind of a little more playing to that side, or I don't know if you
I'm
want
gonna
to.
look at Fat Joe and Nori. You hear me? Both of you motherfuckers. You hear me? And I ain't got nothing personal with nobody. You know what I'm saying? Cuban, my dude, and all that. I just wish he'd just be in a better situation. I have no hate towards nobody in the industry. They ain't do nothing to me. They ain't put me in prison. Ain't nobody hit me. Ain't nobody slap me. None of that type shit. You know what I'm saying? But Nori and Fat Joe, you motherfuckers gotta stop playing gatekeepers. You guys gotta stop acting like you run the goddamn industry and nobody can get in. It's a whole different time. Uh, you got to stop out like closing the door on Cuban too. I mean, Cuban is independently gonna always get his message out. It's too many platforms, and all y'all motherfuckers look like is you're old, you're bitter, like let that man eat. You know, he's a part of what started you guys. You know what I'm saying? He probably wrote for, I know for one of y'all, you know, uh, shaking Cuban's hand, man, and saying, look, I was wrong or whatever, just makes you look like a bigger superstar. And it's actually the right thing to do. For both of y'all, whoever wrong, both of y'all to sit down like men and show this generation and culture that Latinos are more unified and stronger than what people actually think. You making us look bad. Both of y'all. Cuban too, you be making us look bad sometimes too, because you should have been moved on. You know? Do you have your truth? Hell yeah. Does it hurt? Hell yeah. But you should have said, fuck these dudes and not talked about them for like 5 years and just be the talented artist that you are, and maybe try to build a strong team, get some people that are very, very polished with great visuals, you could have get with a great team. I don't know why 50 Cent, when he was mad at Fat Joe or whatnot, ain't signed Cuban. You know what I'm
Right, that would
saying?
have been a good move if
I
he
wish 50 would have, yeah.
if he had signed him or signed Bang Bang Boogie at that time. That would have been crazy, man. But okay, to argue the whole situation with Cuban, right? Do you
Yes.
think that it's difficult for him to move on because this is not something that just happened and isn't happening anymore? It's still happening as far as the blackballing.
Yes, it's very hard. And especially if you got cut in the face, your brother's gone. They're taking all his credit. They're trying to erase you from the history by not letting you be a part of history, or, trying to erase you from history. Yeah, that shit hurt. But I did 20 years, bro. You think that shit hurt?
Yeah.
I
Your
took it.
so your point is
I
just
took
like
it.
everyone goes through things in life and it
And
hurts.
listen, if you're trying to be a professional artist, all you need, Cuban, is the right visuals, the right little marketing, and you got the talent. You know what I'm saying? So I would just focus more on giving us some motherfucking heat and some fucking raw ass visuals and just go. Shut the fuck up and go. You know what I'm saying? That's all. That's my. I think he's gotten stuck on it. I think it's brought him problems. I mean, if you notice, bro, Cuban wasn't even doing no music when I met Cuban. I had to fire that motherfucker up and get him on that Last Supper, and then maybe I lost a little motivation and he took it. But Cuban, that's all he need to do, drop music. Cuban's one of the top 5 fucking Latin lyricists that there is. I've seen Cuban locked in, and we've all seen the product. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the crazy thing is though is like he can do an interview piece and it can get so many views, right? But when he releases a song, it gets like a couple thousand or something. And
Well, it's not that, bro. Let's talk about 2023, baby. If you see who I'm affiliated with, young bosses, when I mean bosses, females too. You hear me? They ain't got no problem spending 10 racks on a video. You know what I'm saying? You're out here competing, bro, so you have to compete.
right.
He can't just drop a song and think just because, he Cuban link that everybody going, you have to market, you have to give it great visuals. Like I said, all Cuban needs some great visuals, man, some great bangers, and he gonna get right back to it. Motherfuckers
You're
gonna break
right
on
though,
control.
because the visuals is just as important as the actual
Yeah,
song in this day and age,
absolutely.
right? But I'm gonna hold you accountable, Pop, okay? Because you can't lie and say that you're not into the bochinche too, okay? Because you be watching this shit.
Oh, I get a kick out of all of this shit. I love it. I'm with the shits. I love this shit. I love what Cuban,
He's a
is a
funny
comedian.
motherfucker, man. You
Yeah,
cannot deny he's so entertaining, right? And I've told him, I
yeah.
said that, bro, you could be entertaining even just reading the damn dictionary. It don't matter what you talking about. So you don't even need to talk about TS. You could be talking about something else. That's why I told him, I said, you should make a podcast. You should become a comedian, something, bro. Like you could be a voiceover actor. Like he could do so many
No,
different things.
Cubans should definitely have his own podcast. You know what I'm saying? But before Cuban does that, I think Cuban should lock in. You know what I'm saying? Film about 5 videos on 5 songs, and I think he'll be on a lot of podcasts. you
You
know,
know what? Shout out to him because I know he's in Miami right now and they're working hard. They
yeah,
got a whole bunch of shows, a whole bunch
yeah.
of radio
Well,
interviews. All
as a fan, we need an undeniable video. Okay, as a
right,
fan, you know what I mean. I want to see the fucking Rocky Balboa coming back from undeniable.
yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just nowadays we want to see it's a great story, but give us some dope. Get crucified in that motherfucking video. Let us see. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Cuban's music deserves videos. I know he's all over the place, and I congratulate him. That's dope that he's in Miami working. But I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm just maybe sound a little bit more passionate because I'm a poet, but we love to see Cuban give us some heat and some visuals.
Most definitely, man, because he's super talented and he deserves it. Going back, you did say that you felt Nori and Joe were being gatekeepers, right? I know in the
Yes.
past you ended up saying that you seen Joe try to fix beefs with everyone else besides his own. Like he tried to fix 50 and Ja Rule and everything. But this is just
And he had beef with Ja Rule. I mean with 50.
right. And he fixed that one.
That got fixed.
But it seems like when it comes to Cuban, it's like a different layer. And it makes you really wonder, like, what did Cuban really do to him in the end? I know they
And
had
I
their
know and I know
fights, but
Cuban real good. I've asked that question. Nigga, did you hit his broad or something, nigga? What man, I've asked him why, because when me and EFN were pushing and pushing and pushing, from the answers that I received from DJ EFN's part or any other way that I try to get to, Joe was just too stubborn. I had Cuban at the point where he was ready to sit down. You know what I mean?
but
Joe wasn't up for it. So there's got to be something that, he's not, you know what I'm saying? He's not gonna, I don't know, bro. You know?
I think the problem is though, it's like with Joe, it just seems like he's never trying to humble himself enough to be like, I made a mistake too. Because if you notice in all the stories that he tells and everything, he's never at fault for anything.
Yeah.
You know,
He's very arrogant. Joe is an arrogant dude. He's got these great names, big persona names like the Don, and he's an arrogant guy. You could see that from the outside looking in. But again, what did he do so goddamn bad to just blackball him and want to erase him from the Terror Squad legacy and history? I
right?
don't
Because
get it.
if you think about it, right, like the beef between 50 and Joe, 50 was really on his head, like in a way disrespected him like nobody else, right? I guess the only thing with
Now Cuban done winning hard though. Cuban done got
right.
at him. You know what I'm saying?
But but
Cuban done
I think
Cuban,
also,
Cuban done all over the place on Joe already. For the last 10 years.
but I think that also the street the fighting in the street, that type of stuff, the things that spilled over to the street makes it harder to fix, right? Because Joe and 50 never fought. So, I mean,
Man, I mean, I can't speculate. I can't sit here and tell you Fat Joe is jealous and envious of Cuban Link's talent and didn't want him to shine. I can't speculate and tell you Fat Joe or Cuban, nailed his wife or tried to nail his wife, or I don't know. I asked Cuban, hey,
wow.
did you, why is he, I tried. This dude ain't, at all. He harder than you, and you the one that got caught. You know what I'm saying? Did you bang his wife? And Cuban like, no, I did it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't get why the grudge is so goddamn personal. When just imagine what that would do not only for hip hop, but Joe and Cuban Link, or even just the Terror Squad, they can make a lot of money still, if
Right.
done the right.
I think what's most frustrating though for fans is the original group never got to reach that potential that you knew what they were capable of, right? Because it got cut short, and then after Pun died, and then Cuban never really got to shine, and I just felt like Joe could have really been this. The record label could have been on another level had he been able to show and prove that he was successful in putting out all these different projects, right?
Do you want me to tell you how a lot of Puerto Ricans in Chicago feel about Joe looking from the outside in? We just talked about on a personal
Yeah.
level and involved, but a lot of people look at Joe like a puff daddy, bro. A person who capitalized off an artist's um, art after he passed away and was just selfish and all about him. A lot of people, with the Latin culture, they despise all that bullshit that that the TS went through. You know what I'm saying? And to watch Liza be in shelters and Chris not getting no support. I did a big pun reunion and I flew out myself.
You too good. You too good because that was gonna be my next question. You see, you already know where I
No,
was
I
about to
didn't. I
take it.
really didn't, Panda. But we were just on the subject of Joe, and I don't want to.
We on the same
And I don't
wavelength.
want to get up here and be no like Fat Joe slasher or whatnot. I'm actually finna drop a song that got, it might mention some people, and I don't want anybody to feel like I hate anybody. It's hip hop, baby. You want to say something? Get on the motherfucking wax and say some shit back. You know what I'm saying?
But you were saying that you had the big pun celebration of life, right? Like 5 years ago? Can you talk about that?
6 years ago, I wanted the Latinos in Chicago to be able to do and experience something that we never got to experience in Chicago, which was a lot of Puerto Ricans together, listening to Terror Squad music, Big Pun music. You know what I'm saying? How better to do it than bringing the royal family? You know what I'm saying? And invite Nori and DJ Tony Touch and as many members of Terror Squad as I could. I made it happen. I rented out Porter's Theater. I flew Liza, I flew Star out, I flew Chris out, I flew DJ Tony Touch out, I flew Cuban out, and we had a great show.
Nobody else wanted to show up?
Nori's never responded.
Well, how did you
Of
reach out to
course,
him?
who?
How did you reach out to Nori?
I emailed him.
Okay.
I didn't have a direct line to him. I emailed him. I let him know what I was doing, why I was doing it, if he would, what was his booking rate, and if he wanted to be flown in. I let him know the people that would be there as well. He never responded. I didn't.
Is it possible he never read the email?
Yes, I'm sure
Okay.
that's a possibility. I didn't invite Fat Joe because where the situation with him and Cuban was going to be there, and I know he'd definitely say no. And out of respect for Liza, she was going through, legal matters at the same time,
Right.
trying to get everything, her rights back. So I didn't invite Joe. You know what I'm saying? So, but it was dope to watch Chris though, and his daughter, and for a lot of people just to experience and show them that love.
What about the other members of TS? They didn't respond?
Um, I think I brought it up to Cuban, but I think the relationship that he had at the time with like Prospect and things. I couldn't get a
Armageddon.
I couldn't get a hold of these guys, and to me, it was really just about his kids and his wife and as many as I can get.
Right.
You got to understand. You got to understand. I'm out the penitentiary about 3-4 years. I don't work for nobody. Ain't nobody just renting theaters. You hear me? That doesn't have a job and putting 10 people on a plane and buying their air tickets and paying for their rider and I was doing this off of me. You feel me?
That's crazy.
I wasn't rich fat Joe where I was doing this off my budget.
So you said that you got a good relationship with DJ EFN, right?
We have we don't talk every day. It's a very respectful, mature relationship. I think he knows what I do and the love I have for Cuban. I got love and respect for what he does, and I understand the business relationship he has with those guys. And EFN even interviewed me and showed me love. You know what I'm saying? He has a whole nother podcast called Fatherhood Podcast, and they had me on as a guest, and he got to talk about me and my daughter's relationship on his podcast. And again, he's always came to me and tried to be the peacemaker. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think that he's in a really difficult position where he has to side with Drink Champs and Nori and Joe and stuff?
No, I don't. I
No.
actually respect him for taking a side and sometimes arguing with Joe and or whoever it is. And as far as siding, I mean, he could side with Drink Champs. He is Drink Champs,
Right.
you know. But he is an individual voice, I believe, with his own independent opinion, thought, and heart. And I don't believe he's swayed by anybody. I believe he has a lot of love. I think EJ, he lets it be known anywhere. He has his own thought process.
Yeah, because I know that I saw him say that like he didn't have a relationship with Joe in the beginning, right? He had to build that over time. Um, and Nori, of course, he did have the relationship, but I've heard Cuban say that like DJ EFN stopped talking to him.
Um, if I'm looking from the outside in, and that is true, um, as far as I'm sure they probably didn't even talk on the phone. I'm sure if he didn't answer his message, is because EFN doesn't want to involve himself at this point after Nori said that he can't be on the podcast. He doesn't want to put his foot in his mouth and, say things that there's nothing EFN, Nori made that decision for Dream Champs.
Right.
That he hasn't answered Cuban or why, I would just say he just doesn't want to, put his foot in his mouth or promise something he can't do.
And I think that also he doesn't want Cuban to go on that asshole's podcast, that Panda Chop guy, and say something about,
I'm gonna show you something right now, Panda. Okay, yeah, check this out. I'm sorry, I was responding to one of my employees. I run a security company out here. But check this out. Could you see this kind of clear?
No, I
Which way
can't
do I
see it.
go? Okay. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Whose message is at the top?
Well, me and then DJ EFN.
He sent me a message this 6 hours ago, bro. You know what I'm saying? Uh, what can I tell you? He seems like solid to me. I haven't brought up Nori to him. I don't bring up Drink Champs. We just kind of, keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
And yeah.
That's dope though, man. I wanted to ask you, what do you think about how over the past few years there's been a change to how Puerto Ricans are viewed in hip hop as far as their contributions and everything? Because you said that you grew up in the time of hip hop really starting out, and so you got to really see it.
Planet Rock, Don't Stop, all that shit. The Planet Rock song and break dancing. It wasn't rap though. It was house parties, house music. That was hip hop. The DJs with the crates, the graffiti on the walls. That was hip hop. What's the question though?
Was how do you feel about how over the past few years been a change to how Puerto Ricans are viewed as far as their contributions to hip hop in the early stages?
Um, I like who is it? KRS-One, Busta Rhymes. They will all acknowledge that when they first started spitting rhymes and creating rhymes, there was always a Puerto Rican influence. I can attest to you that when hip hop started in Chicago, pop was in Chicago, and the West Side, and
When you say
there
started,
was.
you mean that when it came over from New York, right?
Yes, yes, we were, uh, and we also had early '90s right after the whole breakdancing era, which was the late '80s. The '90s came, okay, and we got great groups. Crucial Conflict got to go all over New York and make Chicago presence, and um, in the '90s, man, as far as I can recall, before I went to prison, late '80s maybe. We had great artists coming out of Chicago, man. We had pioneers. You had the Brat, you had Crucial Conflict, Do or Die, Psychodrama. You had females like Nuisance. So we just had our different style. I can't remember. Well, there was a Puerto Rican rapper back then. I think Payroll was rap. We had a few Puerto Rican rappers, you know.
Well, because
But
you remember, like, in Joe caught some flack when he said that it was 50-50 as far as black contributions and Puerto Rican contributions, and people got mad about that. But it seems like more and more over the years, the amount of the percentage has gone down and more as far as what people are saying how much Puerto Ricans contributed in the early stage.
look, look, it doesn't matter. Puerto Ricans were there. We evolved with it. If it wasn't the fashion, if it was the breakdancing or the music or the DJing, we were there. We were a part of of it one way or another. And even though hip hop was born in New York, Chicago, New York, were always sharing the culture. Some of the first beats and producers that New York had were from Chicago. Do you know that?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I don't really look at it like that, man. I know we were there. I know we played a heavy, a strong part of the music culture uh, in hip hop at that time. We were always involved, whether it was musically or some type of way.
Because did you see Whack 100 has said that no Puerto Ricans helped create hip hop?
Now that is a total incorrect statement by Wack 100. You know what I'm saying? Watching Wack from the outside, Wack just be wanting to say some shit. Wack is Wack always has something to say about something. That's just Wack 100.
Right, right. There's also been a change to how people feel about Puerto Ricans and Cubans using the N word. When you're growing up in New York, people view them and blacks as almost like one and the same, right? They have the African blood through the slave trade, but it's like over the past few years, things have gotten more sensitive, and it's like a lot of people are like, why do you get to say that word? So how do you feel about that?
I feel that when I write now, I also understand the offensiveness of and how sensitive it is now. So I try not to use it at all, even though, that word might be just stuck in my vocabulary because of doing so much time in prison with my brothers or them calling me man. You know what I'm saying? But
Because in Chicago, you grew up like that as well, right? It was kind of like,
yes, that word is very loosely used by Puerto Ricans here, in a my brother kind of way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I also have noticed how sensitive times are, and I try to be a better writer and lyricist and a presenter. And I try not to use that word.
do you like that things are more sensitive in today's climate?
Do I like it? I respect it.
Okay.
And it might be better, for the youth. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Because
And it makes you be more creative. Instead of saying, you got to find another word to say. You know what I'm saying?
because I saw that, I'm sure you saw it too, that video when Joe was explaining how like people view him when he's saying it because he naturally has blonde hair, blue eyes, and he's light skinned.
The top, could you tell me what nationality is fucking Fat Joe? What the fuck is Fat Joe?
He's Puerto Rican and Cuban.
For sure. That's what it is?
Yeah, he's half and
Okay.
half.
Okay. I didn't know. I knew he was Puerto Rican and something else. I didn't know. So, okay. So he can't get the pass by saying he's half black, right?
No.
Even though some Cubans are blacker than black people. But
Right. But it's I think the problem is that like some people, because there are like some Puerto Ricans that don't like being compared to black people, that don't view themselves as being like within that same vein. And then that gets used as the kind of like the scapegoat where it's like, oh, like, well, y'all view yourselves as not like us anyways, So I think that that's where some people have a problem with it. But I've just noticed more and more over the years, there's been a difference that it kind of like that line drawn in the sand where it was not like that before.
there was more gangster rap before, though. You know what I'm saying? Now everything is kid friendly. You can't even say really too much of a bad word on TikTok, or they activate your account. So it is a lot more sensitive, and I have no problem evolving with the times. If I'm gonna make music, I'm gonna leave that word out of my vocabulary. And from this point on, I might have done it already. You know what I'm saying?
You did say it earlier.
Okay. Well, I mean, I've even
but it's
probably
hard.
put it in my I've even probably used it in my music before. But
Right.
do I respect that people? Do I understand that people get offended? Did I mean yes? Did I mean ever any offense or any disrespect? No, I at all. I very well know that I have African blood, and I know where my roots Taino come from, and I get that. So you know, yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I don't consider myself anything other than that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
Right. Because I think what it is like with cancel culture and everything, it's made things so much crazier, right? So for you to come from that old school and everything, and you watch now the cancel culture take over, like what is that like for you?
It's powerful, and it's sad at the same time, because you say one thing that maybe a whole society or a group doesn't agree with, and now everybody wants to, just because everybody has access to, some gossip page or the news or whatever. It's so quick it's too easy, and for I think that's totally wrong, and I think it's fucked up. I think it's fucked up because someone says something fucked up one time that everybody just wants to cancel you, and I think it's too powerful, in the media. They even want to do you like that.
It's crazy because like people lose their livelihood over sponsorships, everything. Like people dig up old tweets from like years ago, and it's like, bro, shouldn't there be a statute of limitations on this shit? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy, man.
The industry's they're gonna pick and choose, it's gatekeepers out here, baby. It's Illuminati's out here. You know what I'm saying? You only get past them gates if you play by their rules, bro. So
You do believe that there is a Illuminati in the music industry that controls things?
Absolutely, for the main industry, bro. Yes.
And what makes you believe that?
Experience, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm best with the biggest people. I know how things really work. You know? What do you want me to tell you? You know?
I mean, because haven't you noticed like some people have started to experience like, I mean, they might have been famous before, they might have had some money, but then like now like their success is on a whole nother level. And it's not necessarily they're putting out new albums like that, but it's like out of nowhere, it's like they on another stratosphere.
You mean like Joe Pro moves?
Why you? I wasn't trying to bring him up. See, like, now you trying to...
I'm just saying, like stuff like that, like people who really ain't really actively in music, but they get all this press and publicity and TV show opportunities just because on the strength.
Right.
Is that an example?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Or anything that you say out your mouth, it just goes everywhere just because, not because your music is hot and you're dropping some hot shit, but just because maybe the Illuminati pressed that button.
So, what do you think about that?
I think we watch, mainstream, what they want us to watch.
So,
I
programming.
think we listen. I think we listen in the club, in the car, and stream what they give us to stream.
So, you definitely believe that there's like programming going on.
Absolutely, and a lot of backdoor shit. Don't fuck with Pop. He fuck with Cuban. Hey, look, don't fuck with Shorty Woo Wop. He fuck with Little Dirk. A lot of that going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and definitely, when you put money behind something, obviously it's going to make moves. People are going to listen to it.
Now, I'm not saying that you can't get past the gates at all. We have too many tools at our hands. You know what I'm saying? You could
You're just saying it's harder.
it makes things a little difficult when you have gatekeepers and they have their friends and they only want their friends to come and play. It's a little difficult. Or you're not finessed on or passed on and they make 2 million off of this deal or whatever. But you can make it though out here. You can be successful. You can check a real motherfucking bag. I'm on jet skis and boats every goddamn motherfucking week, baby. You know what I'm saying? It's money out here, man. We're about 2, 3 bad ones. You feel me?
Right. So, do you think, like, with the Illuminati speaking and all that, do you think it's like what people are saying, like the blood drinking and like all those secret things behind the scenes, or you think?
Man, I don't know. After watching a few Puff Daddy videos and hearing a couple of dark closet ass stories, I don't know what kind of dick in the booty ass shit goes on. You know what I'm saying? To tell you the truth.
All right, man. I think we should get off Joe Neck.
No, I'm just saying. You said, do I believe that there's rituals going on?
Right.
And I'm letting you know, I don't know what the fuck, but after hearing about some of them Puff Daddy parties and all that, I'm not the only one just hearing about that shit.
So wait, were you hearing about that through like YouTube videos or like through like actual people in the industry?
Both.
Damn.
I got buddies that tell me, man, I'll never go to them parties that are in the industry, like up there. I'm like, I don't fuck with dude like that. I say
Wow.
what's up at an event, cool, but nah, I'm cool.
All right, so let's get into your acting. How did you get into acting? I know you just put out a new movie. Let's talk about that.
I'm about 5 movies in, about 3 lead characters where I get to play uh, that Latin motherfucker in the movie in some kind of way. Uh, Acting came about by a guy who told me I'd be perfect to play a boss. He knew my history just coming home. Uh, I did that. It was called The Lick Part 2, Life in Chicago Part 2. That was my first movie. I played this big role but I didn't get to speak no motherfucking English. I was the guy that came to the United States from Colombia. I even had to change my accent, and I had a translator for me the whole movie. One of my Colombians here, you know. But I had a couple of other acting gigs. I got to work with Damon Williams, and in another, not another black movie, I got to make an appearance on that where I throw a guy off the stage. And then I worked at a dope movie called Cap and Gown, directed by Bo G. Simmons. He picked me for a role for this Win for Losing, where I play a dirty security guy who knows where the money's at. And I have two brothers in desperate of some need to get some quick money. And it's a heist movie, you know, and I get to speak English and do my thing in that movie. We just had the red carpet event. The name of the movie is Win for Losing. Dope ass movie. It has Cold Hearted Crucial Conflict. Asia's in it. Simeon Henderson. Directed by Will Gates and Bo G. Simmons. These guys have dope filmmakers in Chicago. They're off to do like 5 more movies right now. I'm getting ready to film for a horror flick. I'm getting ready to film right after that to play an OG in a movie, in a very serious Chicago movie. They're also doing a series of some other things, and I get to play the character in that Chicago series from my neighborhood. So I got a lot of projects I'm doing as far as filming.
Wow, that's crazy. Are you interested in playing like a different type of character too, though, like a comedian, like a comedic kind of role, or like I don't know, a romantic role?
Um, for what I got coming up, man, they're more serious roles. I think in one of them I'm playing a bookie. Another one I'm playing.
But I
Uh,
mean, like, are you interested in showing like your different layers of acting and doing different type of roles?
Absolutely, man. I'm just being blessed right now to play kind of roles that I kind of fit right in, you know.
Right,
But
right.
I would love to play maybe some dramatic shit. You know what I'm saying? Like a Johnny Q, Denzel Washington type of, you know, something where my kid's dying, or you know, some shit like that. You know,
Oh, so you want to cry? You want to cry on camera, kind of thing?
maybe not cry, but you know, have to go over the
Come
limit for
on,
my
Pop.
family.
You know, once you're
I
able to
mean, if
show that you can cry on demand like that, that's when people
man,
believe that you can really
you
act.
guys got to go watch the movie, man. My guy, Cold Hearted Crucial Conflict, sheds tears in this fucking movie, and
Okay,
he
okay. See.
did that shit on the fly, bro. And I don't even know if I could take myself there. You know,
All right. Look, how about this? 50 gives you the call, okay, to be on Power or BMF, something like that, right? But you got to show your ass and be having sex on camera, basically. Because you know, in his shows, bro, it's like so many of those type of scenes. Would you do it?
50 got to take me to the gym for 90 days. 50, I got to lose the belly, baby. I got to lose the belly. I got to bulk up the shoulders. Do I get to fuck Lala? It's on, baby. It's on. Shit.
No, but some of those scenes look crazy, right? Like it looked like they're really doing it. Like I
I'm
don't
not
know how
doing no
they.
homosexual shit. Sorry,
No,
50. I
no,
can't do that. You know what I'm saying?
no.
But you give me Lala or what's that young chick? Effie? She'll get it.
Yeah.
They'll get it. I'm sorry. They can
But
get
you
it.
know what I'm talking about, right? Like how they film the scenes, it looks like they really doing it. It's crazy. Like I don't even know how they do that.
They did it in the movie I'm in. There's a lot, you know, they do it over and over and over again, and they get it done. Cut and no, let's get this angle, and you know, I don't know how they do it, but I'm sure I can do it.
You're like, hell yeah, dude. You put the right person in the scene with me, I'll do it.
50, give me a call, my nigga. I'm the dopest Puerto Rican OG out of Chicago. I bring my own baddies, you heard?
I bring my own partner. All right, man. So is there anything else you want to talk about before we go ahead and end the interview?
No, man, not at all. I just appreciate the opportunity. I do want to say, I was saying on the yard before Charlie Rock LD, and that's what I loved about him, man. I do want to say, rest in peace, Charlie Rock LD. I hope you guys don't forget his name and know that he was a positive influence, coming back after being gone so long and trying to give you guys some humor and a positive outlook on life. And that's what I'm about, man. I got music coming at my age. I got videos coming at my age. It ain't shit you can't do. You know what I'm saying? Keep going forward, and I appreciate being here on Panda Chop motherfucking news. Chop, 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 chop. We chopped it up today, and that's all I got, man. Go fuck with my Instagram. The handle is official Prince of Pain on Instagram. I got a website, www.princeofpain.com. And I got a podcast as well that's called What's Poppin' Podcast. Everything also on iHeartRadio.
Yo, man, when you do your album and stuff, you got to throw me on one of them skits or something like that, you know?
We're gonna see you. We're gonna see you without the. We're actually gonna get to see you.
No, I mean, like, you got to throw me on one of the skits, like the audio. You know how
Okay,
they used to
okay.
put skits on the album? You
You
got to
gotta
throw
do
me on
roll
one
the
of them
clip.
joints.
You gotta do roll the clip for me. You hear me?
All right,
You
all
gotta
right.
do roll the clip. You hear me?
Yeah, that'd be dope, man. But yo, you got to update your website, man.
Yeah, 100%.
Yo, because you done add so many more accolades onto that About Me section, and some of them videos ain't working.
Yeah. Well, we're there next. I haven't fucked with the music in like 2 years, and
Right.
I'm glad you said that. I really need to do that.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm looking forward to anything that you got coming out. Everybody, make sure you go check out the movie. What's the name of the movie again?
Win for Losing. It's available on rawfootagemovies.com. I got a track and video dropping for y'all this week. New music, new video, shot by Open World Films and Great Nova Cinema Studios. Realest in My City dropping this week. Y'all need to
Ooh.
check that out.
Yeah, and I know there's gonna be some baddies in that because every single video I see you in, you got some baddies.
I think you guys are going to be very, very happy with this video. Will Gates shoots movies, not just music videos.
All right, man. Yo, Prince of Pain, always a pleasure, bro. It was really an honor for my part, bro, to be able to get your story, and it's just amazing everything that you've been through in your life to get to this point. And it's really an inspiration to show people that you can give back to your community, you can change your life, turn it around, and be successful. You're doing things that you love out here. You know what I mean? You're not just doing the same old shit that you were once doing in your life. You really made a difference, bro. It's really an inspiration for me too, to see what you've been able to do.
I appreciate that, bro. I appreciate that. Much love, man. Chop, 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 baby.
All right, Prince.